Hi, I'm Ananya. I'm a junior content manager with Trip 101. Today we're meeting Farnaz, who's from the US, and she traveled to Portugal, and she's going to tell us about a small town within the country where she went. It's called Tavira. It's a coastal town that's pretty special. Farnaz is going to tell us all about it today. Welcome to this session with Trip 101, Farnaz. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
We'd love to know a little bit about you and how are you as a traveler and how frequently do you travel?
My name is Farnaz and I live at San Jose Bay Area, California. And between my jobs and my breaks, I travel. It depends on economy. I travel. So if the economy is good and I have break, I travel sometimes once in a year or sometimes twice per year. But it depends on economy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's true for all travelers that it's always our budget
yeah,
and our funds which decide where we can go and cannot. So, but it's pretty
exactly.
good that you try to have at least one or two trips a year.
Usually, so I live in California, so usually we go for day trips or we visit towns nearby. But for international trips, like maybe once a year or something like.
Mhm. And you also document your travels on your Instagram handle, don't you?
Yes, yes. So I have this Instagram account called Farnaz Lifestyle that I post pictures of my travels and I talk about them.
Yeah, sharing your travels with other people so that they can also get inspired. That's what we at Trip 101 are all about. I'm really glad that
Exactly.
you do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
So when you travel, Farnaz, is it usually, do you go yourself or do you go with friends or family? How do you travel?
I usually prefer to go with my family, but family is not always available. So sometimes I travel solo. For example, like one time I traveled solo. I took a train from my hometown, San Jose, which is in California, to Vancouver, Canada. It took me almost 1 day and a half, but the scenery was just so beautiful and I went by myself. So I have had some solo vacations, but I prefer family vacations over solo vacation. Solo till. But I had this one of my teachers at college, she had visited 81 countries, and she told me you cannot always travel with family. So I learned from her that family is not always available. So after that, I also travel solo.
You were inspired by your teacher.
Yes, yeah. She had
So are
visited so many countries. Even though she was American, she had visited Afghanistan, India, Pakistan, and I was like, wow, like you have traveled so many countries. Like some of these countries, like Pakistan or Afghanistan. I'm from Iran, and even me, I haven't visited Afghanistan. So it was very interesting for me.
so are you also now keeping account of the countries that you have visited?
Yeah. Yeah, but like I always read about other countries and about their history and like their culture, and I want to visit them. Yeah.
Okay. So how many have
Yeah.
you already crossed out on your list so far?
I think it's about 9 countries.
Okay.
Yeah, not much, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you're just slowly getting started. It's and warming up to more travel, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. When did you visit Portugal?
I visited Portugal in April for almost days.
Oh, okay. And this was a trip
Yeah.
with your family?
Yes, yeah, it was a trip with my
Okay.
family.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Where all did you go in Portugal? We know Tavira
Um,
definitely, but apart from that,
So first we visited Lisbon and then we came south of Portugal, which is like Algarve, Tavira, Faro. And then we went to Porto, which is, it has some surrounding cities, which one of them was Aveiro. Aveiro, it's called Venetian of Portugal that has a canal. It's also similar to Netherlands or Amsterdam that has canals.
Okay.
And then in our way also we visited city of Fatima that's famous for Christians. It has a very beautiful church. And
Mm.
then in our last day we drove back from Porto to Lisbon and then we had a flight. Porto used to be capital city of Portugal till I guess 100 years ago. And then
Okay.
Lisbon became
Yeah.
yes,
Porto
yeah.
is also famous for its wine.
Yes.
So how many days were you in the south of Portugal, the Algarve coast?
We were there for 2 days.
2 days. Okay. And was all of
Yeah.
this spent in the town of Tavira, or were there other towns that you also
Um,
went to?
we had rented a car, so we were also drove to the coastal towns, which was Faro, and we went to the beach and stuff. So we didn't just stay at Tavira, but we also drove by to the towns nearby, and we visited them.
So
Like
were you
over there, the towns are very like nearby. Like it's half an hour and you get to another town. It's
Mm.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were driving around all of Portugal, like all the cities and towns that you visited, you were driving by.
Yes. When we got there, we rented a car at Lisbon and yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's a yeah, convenient way to go around and visit many spots in a new country that you're in.
Exactly. Especially since because of the prices for the train and also airplane tickets. If you are a family, it's better if you rent a car.
Hmm. Yeah.
And also, even in one town, for example, like in Porto or Tavira, it's good that you have a car. Not for Tavira, but like for big cities like Lisbon and Porto, that it's good to have a car. This way you just park your car, you go and visit this place, and then you drive for 40 minutes and you go visit somewhere else. So it was very helpful to have a car.
Yeah, you can cover many attractions and spots that way.
Exactly. For example, like there were this tour that they were charging like 50 euros for it, and we had a car and we just drove by. We visited that place. It was just a park and tourist attraction, and we saved lots of money by just having a car.
Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah. I'll go
Yeah.
back to the month that you traveled in. You said it was April, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So how was the weather like in Portugal when you went?
So the first 2 days was pretty cool. Like we had our jackets, and then suddenly the weather warmed up, and we were wearing our t-shirts and shorts, and it was very warm. So it changed a lot, like dramatically, from like jackets to like t-shirts and summer. Yeah, it was
Expect
pretty nice.
Were you expecting
No,
it
we
to be
did.
cold there when you went?
No, he actually checked the weather and it said that it's gonna be cold. That's why we had so many warm clothes, but we just had like few summer clothes to be like to just be safe. And yeah, so that's why we went for shopping. Yeah,
Wow. So you were taken for a surprise by the weather,
exactly.
definitely.
Exactly. But it was very nice. We enjoyed it.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
When you were planning your trip, did you specifically like decide on April for a reason, or was it just the time that you had a break from work?
We had a break from work, but also we went this month because we knew that the prices of places, hotels, Airbnb, and like airplane tickets were going to be lower than other months. That's why we decided to go in
Mm,
April.
yeah, it must be like
Yeah,
just the beginning or spring or summer beginning over there at that point, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you said that you enjoyed the weather over there, and I'm guessing it
Yes.
was a good time to visit.
Yeah, it's a very good time to visit. The weather, like you only needed a very light jacket for the mornings, or at night, and the rest of the day was very good. The weather was very nice. And also Portugal is very good, affordable place for buying clothes and shopping. So I recommend it.
So you were in luck that even though like you hadn't packed for summer, you were able to find clothes and that too at not very
Yeah,
expensive price.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get down to discussing the Algarve coast and your time in Tavira specifically. After you started your trip and from where you drove down to the Algarve coast, tell us what was it like, and I'm curious to know what was the drive like, first of all.
Sure, yes. For in Portugal, if you want to use highways, you have to pay. Like highways are not free. So if you want, you can either pay for highway or you can use the road. It's like you are driving in the villages and you just use one-way roads and you are passing by all of these agricultural fields and it's very beautiful. So the first time that we went on a road, we decided to not pay for highway and we were thinking that it's just a regular road. And then we noticed that like 2 hours road, 2 hours way, it's gonna take 4 hours. So then we were like, no, we're just gonna pay for highway and use
Okay.
highways. It's just gonna be much faster, but like it's very beautiful. You would pass by these orange trees and it was very beautiful, like the roads and the plants and the mountains, and it was so green and beautiful. And then we got to Tavira, we got to Algarve region, and we got to the ocean, and it was just so beautiful.
At first, you thought that you'd take the longer road because it wasn't paid, but then you decided against it because it would have, I guess, prevented you from seeing the actual spots that you were going to.
Exactly.
The
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But that's great that even the drive along the highway was good and like you were able to see a lot of plants and mountains and views.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I guess you could tell us about what you did in Tavira while you were there.
Sure. So Tavira is the historical town of the Algarve region. So the other towns nearby are all new towns, but Tavira is the old town that has been there for a long time. It has lots of old churches and old buildings. For example, like this square that you see is called the Republic Square, and when we were walking at each direction, we could see churches nearby. So next to that square was a Roman bridge that was built a long time ago. And that bridge was just so beautiful. And a river passes by Tavira, and like a combination of this beautiful square and next to it this beautiful old bridge and this river like made it all so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it like we just parked our car, we visited this bridge, and then we walked in the square, and there were so many like very cute shops nearby that you could just go and look at the shops, and like you didn't even have to buy anything, but the shops were so cute. And then I there were a walking distance to the churches, some of the churches that most of them were free and they would just let you walk in if you wanted to pray. And even though one of them it's called Church of Mercy, and they were closing and they let it us in and we went there and we prayed and we were able to take lots of pictures and it was very beautiful. But like the atmosphere of the Tavira was very beautiful. Like people were very friendly. Everywhere we walked by, somebody was playing music and it was very beautiful.
That sounds lovely. Yeah, just from the picture that's behind you, that the colors of the sky and those reflected on the river, they just look so beautiful, even from just that one picture that you have shared with us for now.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
like there were there were these like stone chairs built in the on the bridge that you could just sit and look at the like sunrise or sunset, and it was so beautiful. Yeah. My hometown is called Esfahan, and we also in my hometown we have a river and we have these bridges on the river. So my house was next to a river and one of the bridges. And like this bridge reminded me a lot of my hometown.
Mhm.
And so it was just so beautiful.
So it was
Yeah,
like a special spot for you because you were able
exactly.
to recall your hometown and the river and bridge over there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
did you spend a long time at the bridge?
Yeah, about 2 hours. It was very enjoyable. It wasn't hot, it wasn't cold, and it
Mhm.
was just very nice.
Yeah. So was this were you at the bridge around the time of the sunset?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
What a pretty spot to just watch the sun go down, and especially if there are chairs there to sit and be comfortable as
exactly.
well.
Yeah, and somebody's playing music for you. It's just great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It checks all the boxes. Like you have the
exactly.
yeah, you have the scenery, you have the sun, and then music and a comfortable place to sit. So I guess
Exactly.
every and so just like maybe a snack or a coffee is needed to complete
Exactly.
the experience.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So what did you do after watching the sun go down at the bridge?
So I guess we headed back to our apartment. Before heading on our way back home, we bought food and then we headed back to our apartment. Yeah.
All right. So that was your first day, the first day when you arrived in Tavira.
Yes.
And so what was the second day like?
The second day we went to the beach, and the beach also was very beautiful, and my mom and my sister wanted to take a boat and go and explore the ocean and everything. And my dad and I decided to just stay in the land, like by the beach and enjoy that.
So you
Yeah.
said so the group was split into two.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. But I remember it was very windy and we had to wait for the right time so they could take the boat and go. Okay, so there are some like nice cliffs also in the ocean that you have to take a boat in order to go and see them, that you
Oh,
cannot see from the land, and also some caves that
hmm.
we cannot see it from the land. And what my mom and sister did was that they took the boat and the boat took them inside those caves inside the water, and it was just, I saw the pictures, it was very beautiful.
Okay.
It's one of the tourist attractions of
Oh,
Algarve. Yeah.
wow. And what were you
Yeah.
and your dad doing in the meantime on the land?
So it has a hike nearby, near the beach, near the ocean, that like you just do this hike and you go to the top of the, not mountain, but it's just you walk by and then you see the whole ocean, not whole ocean, but like you see the cliffs and everything. So we just did that. We went for a hike. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So is
Yeah.
it like a hilly terrain?
Yes. Yeah.
So you enjoyed a top view while your mom and sister they went down into the caves themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day, you
Yeah.
could compare notes who got a better view.
Exactly, yeah. But our apartment was also next to the beach, so we had this like ocean view. So like in the mornings we would take our time in the apartment, and also like at night also we could go for a walk.
Yeah.
By the beach, it was very beautiful.
How's the waves over there? Is it busy, like a rough sea, or is it calm waves?
No, there were very like big.
Mm.
I hadn't seen. So here, like in California, we are also next to the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
But in Portugal, they are next to the Atlantic Oceans, and the waves there was very like big waves, like being big long waves. I
Oh,
had never seen waves like this.
oh.
Yeah.
So you were starting your morning and ending your days next to these big waves.
Like the place that we were, like it was a beach, so the waves were not that big,
Mm,
but
yeah.
like but like we saw very big waves next to those cliffs that we went
Mm.
to visit, and they were famous. Yeah, but yeah,
Do you remember what the
it
cliffs
was
are called?
no, I don't remember, but you can like those are like very famous, and they can find it in Google.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Portugal is famous for its waves, and it's because they are very long and big waves,
Yeah.
and people are going for surfing
Mm.
because of its waves.
Mm. So
Yeah.
you caught them, you caught a sight of them from the cliffs when you visited.
Yes, yeah.
Mm. What else did you do in Tavira?
And Tavira, we just visited the Roman bridge, and we walked in the town, and we visited churches, and also we went to the beach. And there are so many stores in Tavira that are Spanish brands. They are from Spain.
Oh,
Yeah.
so did you shop in Tavira as well, or was it in another part of
Um,
Portugal?
Not much. We mostly shopped in Aveiro and Porto, but looked at.
What about the food in Tavira? What all were you having?
So Portugal is famous for its seafood. I don't like seafood much, and the first few nights we were ordering from restaurants, and in Portugal also you can use Uber Eat and these apps to order foods and also go to local restaurants. But since we didn't like seafood much, we found this chain market called Pingo Doce that you can find it in every towns in Portugal, and they had restaurant in the inside it, and also they had it was supermarket that you could find everything inside it. So we would go and buy food from there. They had the best sambusa ever. I
Okay.
couldn't believe it. Their food was very good. And also, we would buy our grocery from them too.
Okay. And did you eat at the restaurant then, like after buying from the supermarket,
Yeah,
or
there were seats there that we could eat there. But
oh,
since we had our own apartment too, and we had the kitchen, but we could take it home too and
okay.
prepare it for ourselves. If we were so tired and it was a long day, we would just grab it and take it home.
So at the supermarket though, like there's an option to like they cook the food for you, the one that you have bought over there. Is it something like that?
Yeah, like they had cooked food, and it was like you had an option. You would go, I want this,
Ah,
this,
okay.
and then they would pack it for you.
Okay.
They also had like coffee, plus they had coffee, and they had croissant that you could go and buy. And their
Okay.
coffee was very good. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any non-seafood Portuguese dishes that you were able to try?
No, like they are very famous for seafood. We tried sardine the first night, and after that, I had some stomachache problem.
Oh.
That's why we went to non-seafood food.
So you stuck to the safe options then.
Exactly, yes.
So you were mostly picking up food from the supermarket and then coming back to your apartment to cook it yourself.
It was cooked food, so we would just eat it. But yeah, we were fine after. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess if seafood's not your this thing, like your cup of tea, then definitely at least like there are other options
exactly.
available at the supermarket. So that's good.
Yes, yeah. Exactly.
I'm a vegetarian, so I'm curious to know if there are any vegetarian or vegan options available in Portugal.
I think there are at least like at that grocery store, Pingo Doce. I told you we were able to find
Mm,
sambusa, and that was vegetarian.
okay, at
Yeah,
least like
yeah,
there are options.
exactly. Yeah.
I also wanted to know. So once you drove into Tavira, within the town itself, also, did you have to drive from one location to the other, or could you walk around?
In Tavira, you can just walk, but our apartment wasn't in Tavira, it was in Faro.
Okay,
That's why we had to drive, but I'm not sure if your apartment is in Tavira and if it's not in the center, you have to drive or not. But like for seeing sightseeing, you don't have to drive. It's better if you walk.
okay.
Yeah,
From the square itself, all the spots to see are within walking distance.
within walking distance. Yeah.
Okay. So why did you choose an accommodation that was in Faro and not in Tavira? Was it because of the ocean view?
First, it was ocean view, and also, for example, I liked history and I wanted to visit Tavira, but my sister and my mom preferred nature over Tavira. We did this deal that we do both. So they came and they visited Tavira with me, and also we spent some time in nature. So we did both.
Okay. So you
Yeah,
had to balance it.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's pretty
Yeah.
great. Yeah. I guess like when you're traveling in a group, you have to accommodate everyone's needs.
Exactly. But even them, they loved Tavira. Like they were, my parents were thinking of even retire at Tavira, or my sister loved Tavira so much that was like, oh, let's see how much are the apartments here.
I think it's
Tavira
the
is so
bridge.
lovely.
I think it's the
Yes.
bridge.
Yeah. Even like the rest of the town was so lovely. Yeah. Yeah, it was very lovely.
Yeah. And I think it's pretty special, like when a place can remind you of home.
Exactly.
So we've
Yeah.
discussed your accommodation a little bit, but let's get down into a little bit more detail about it. So you were staying in Paro and you were visiting by driving to it. So how
Yes.
far was your accommodation from Tavira itself?
It was about 40 minutes drive.
Okay, not that much.
Yeah, not that much.
And
Yeah.
was it like an Airbnb that you had booked?
Yes,
Okay.
Airbnb. Yeah.
And how was your stay over there?
Our stay was very nice. So we were in this apartment building and we're in, I guess, in fourth floor. And as I said, we had the view of the ocean, and then it had two rooms, and the apartment was very nice. It was cozy and nice, and the neighborhood was very quiet and safe. And as I said, at nights, my sister and I were feeling safe to go and walk alone
Hmm.
next by the ocean. Yeah, so it was very nice.
And
Yeah.
how's Paro as a town? Like, how does it compare to Tavira?
So now Faro is part of Faro district. So Faro is like a modern town. It doesn't have any historical sites.
Okay.
Yeah, so Faro didn't have anything in it. Like it was just a modern town and it was just next to the ocean. Yeah. So it's hard to compare it. Tavira is very beautiful, but Faro was just a normal town.
Okay. So since
Yeah.
it's like an urban space, I guess it's convenient also to stay there. Like you find amenities nearby pretty easily, maybe.
Yeah, for example, it was easy to drive in it, and if you wanted to go to and get coffee, it was easy to find a coffee shop, restaurants in it, or other places. But like Tavira is just very historical, like beautiful town.
Yeah. Okay. So it makes
Yeah.
sense to, yeah, definitely visit Tavra for its beauty. And then if you want like a stay which is more convenient, then you could stay in Paru.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, are there options to stay in Tavira too? Like when you were doing your research for the trip, did you find places to stay?
Um, there are apartments that we found in Faro better than the apartments that were available in Tavira. Maybe
Okay.
that's why also we booked our apartment in Faro.
Maybe there are fewer options in Tavira itself.
Exactly. And maybe since the town is historical, so what I noticed is that they have kept their old buildings old. So they haven't fixed it or they haven't demolished their old houses and built new ones.
Mm,
So they have kept those old houses old, but in Faro there were new apartments. That's why like we could get a good apartment that was near the had the ocean view and had good amenities and those
yeah,
things in Faro, but not in Tavira. Most of
yeah.
the apartments were very old and didn't have
Mm,
enough space. But
yeah.
in Faro, we could find a better place.
So I think you chose well in terms of like where the accommodation should be and where the sites need to be seen. Like
Exactly.
the next thing that I want to know from you, Farnaz, is what would be your advice or tips for first-time travelers who are visiting Portugal, but specifically Tavira itself?
Sure, yeah. I think in Portugal, one thing that I was reading in the in the travel blogs, but I didn't have any issue. They were saying that they should be careful with their wallets and their bags because of the safety. But we were fine. We didn't have any issue of our bags getting stolen from us or something like that. But they were saying to use bags that has use safe bags and be careful with their wallets when they are traveling to Portugal. Other thing is that for Portugal, you will walk a lot, even though we had rented a car, but we were walking over 10,000 steps per day. So we had to walk a lot. So it's very important to have comfortable shoes because you will walk a lot, even if you have rented a car. So buy comfortable shoes before your vacation to Portugal and have some form of like hat or sunscreen because Portugal is famous for being sunny and so it's very sunny and you can get sunburned after visiting Portugal. I think these three. There were so many steps to take in Portugal. So we walked a lot and we would get tired. So it was hard. So comfortable shoes are very important and have two type of shoes, have summer shoes and have like sport shoes because I had to go and buy summer shoes in Portugal.
Because it was unexpectedly some more
Hot,
summer, yeah,
exactly.
than you had thought of.
Yeah.
That's a good tip. What
Yeah.
about water? Were you able to drink the tap water from nearby?
Yes, you can drink their water. You don't have to
Okay,
buy water.
okay, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Only, I guess only in Tavira you might have to buy water, but in Lisbon and Porto you can drink their water. But only in Tavira you might have to buy water.
Okay, I think it's a pretty old town. That's why.
Yeah. And maybe because it's by ocean, it's like that.
Those were all really good tips. If I ask you, like, to say what was the best thing about your visit in Tavra, what would you say?
The best thing, I think probably the I love the bridge and like history and I really love Tavira. So probably I like the bridge because it was beautiful mixture of nature and history. So I really enjoyed
Okay.
it.
Would you ever go back to Portugal again? Like, how did you find it as a country?
I found the country very, people are very kind and welcoming. And also, since I like history and old buildings and stuff, I really enjoyed it. I think we will go back for sure. It's
Okay.
one of the countries that I want to go back. Yeah. For example, so we were foreigners, and when we were in elevator in the in Airbnb place, and we were, for example, like helping elderlies, they would just speak Portuguese to us. Like they would say obrigada, which means thank you. And yeah, it felt good. They were
Okay.
very welcoming. Or there were some others to speak Portuguese to us. And when I told them I don't understand, they tried to speak English to us. And they were making so much effort to speak English to us. So it felt very good.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Did you face an
Yeah.
issue with the language anywhere, like while you were in Portugal?
Now, like most of the stores, like they could speak English. Airbnbs, like they knew English. I think you will be fine.
Okay, that's good to
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess most people know English there. And
Okay.
one thing about people there is that like they enjoy a good time. So they are very outgoing. They spend time in parks and these things that like American people they don't do much because they are so busy. So I love that.
So, out of all the cities and towns in Portugal that you visited, which one did you like the most?
I think I liked Porto most.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was special about Porto for you?
Porto used to be capital, not I don't like that because it used to be capital, but like it's like cultural. It I liked its culture and also it was very beautiful. It had very nice castles inside it. And also, I liked its architecture. I liked its buildings and people and like its the town and everything.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of love for Portugal in your heart, definitely because of its old buildings and
Um,
historical spots.
One thing is that Portuguese, like, they had lots of interactions with India also, right? They came and they conquered
Yeah,
part of India, and also they had interactions with Muslims.
yeah,
They call it Moorish people. So they had in their buildings, you could see how they Indian castles or Muslims, how they have influenced their buildings. And since I like art and these, it was just very beautiful. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. A mix of cultures happening in the buildings over there.
exactly. Like they had in Porto, there were this part of this castle was this Arabian room that they had created this room as a gift to the queen. And this room, they had written Arabic phrases from Quran, and it looked like this holy place in Iran. And it was just so similar to this building that I had seen in Iran. And it was so beautiful. So, like seeing these things and these how they like got influenced by those Eastern cultures was interesting to see.
Yeah. And that was special for you, especially because you were reminiscing about home through the spots that you were visiting.
One thing is this, but then also in Iran, you have to have hijab to be at places like this. And I was thinking of just not take a picture without hijab and post that and say, oh, I'm at this holy place and without hijab. It was interesting. Yeah,
Yeah. So it was a different kind of experience while sharing similarities.
exactly. Yes.
Great. So it's
Yes.
been really
Yeah.
great speaking to you, Farnaz, and seeing
Thank
Portugal and especially Tavira through your eyes. I'm pretty glad that you were able to join us today and share your experience with us. Thank you so much for that.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me. Thanks.
With this, we'll sign off for today and bye bye.
Bye bye.